So during the time of COVID, my daughter was a junior and a senior in high school. And so that was like a really supposed to be a really fun, exciting time for her. But it ended up being a really like sad time for her. And she really struggled with it quite a bit. Just like would go to the grocery store for no reason to buy like, she's like, you need chapstick, I'll go buy chapstick. Like just really struggled with being home in the house. And not being able to see her friends, and then like the continuous anxiety of like worrying if you had it, or making decisions if you should go see people or not see people, or just like so many different questions where there weren't really any clear answers. It was really hard to navigate like ethically and medically to figure out what were the right choices to make during that time.
Have you been vaccinated for COVID-19, or do you have plans to be vaccinated?
Yes, I've been vaccinated and I've been boosted once.
If you've received the vaccine, what were some of the reasons that you had for doing so? And has your view about the vaccine changed over time since you received it?
So I got the vaccine because I wanted to protect myself and to protect those people that I was going to be around. I got the booster for the same reason. Yeah, I felt prideful in getting the vaccine. It was like exciting for me and my daughter. I haven't gotten the booster yet because I guess been convinced that people are getting sick, and with me having regular like illnesses going on in the fall, I don't then want to put myself in a position where I'm like getting something that I know could potentially make me sick.
Yeah, I had COVID pretty shortly after I had my flu vaccine and my booster, but I know my symptoms were pretty mild. I think due to like having my booster, but still,
Wow.
like you still can get sick. And I think that's something Kayla and I talked a lot about. Like perspectives the kids had where they thought, oh, if you're vaccinated, you're cured and you're immune.
Right.
And she was talking about like having more of this understanding that it just helps it be like easier when you have it. When you got the first one, what was that like experience like making the appointment and like going to get it? Receiving it, like did you go have somewhere local that had it? Did you go to like a pharmacy? She had talked about she went to a church. I got mine at school at like Walgreens, I think the first one.
No, I think I got it pretty quickly, because pretty soon after it came out, because I have asthma and allergies, so I was notified pretty quickly to go to make an appointment, and I went to a facility that my daughter went to because she got hers like as soon as possible because she also has asthma, and that was before me. So I went to a college that was probably about half an hour away from my house, and it was quite a production. Like the military was there helping direct everybody, and there was like a huge line and a wait, and yeah, it was quite an experience, but it was exciting.
Yeah, the first round was definitely felt surreal. Like I remember my wife at the time was we're at the convention center, and it was very like I had to wait outside. I wasn't eligible, like huge lines of people, but it's got easier over time. Who or where do you go for information about COVID-19 and vaccinations? Like what kinds of sources do you trust about getting vaccinated?
I'd say I trust news sources, and then my family is a good source of information because my mom has been working at COVID vaccination banks and for the Red Cross, so she has like a lot of knowledge from doing that.
Do you believe that COVID-19 vaccines are available in your community?
I do think that they're available right now. You can just go to the pharmacy and like make an appointment, and it's posted. Like if you're in the grocery store, you can get a COVID shot here. But at first it was more difficult, I would say, like having to do it all through email or having to go to multiple sites and see where there were available appointments. Like that was tough.
So despite like the newer availability that we have right now, do you think there are other barriers or challenges for people getting the vaccine? Like yes, you can get it at the grocery store or,
Mhm.
you know, the drugstore or wherever, like walk in. But do you think there are barriers to getting it now?
Yeah, I think like transportation is an issue. And I think stigma or judgment from like peers and friends is an issue. Like it's a very personal choice. But some people feel very strongly about like not getting it. And I could imagine that some people feel pressured by peers and family.
I think you already answered this. It's easier to get the vaccine in your community, and you kind of said what's making it easier is, you know, more people have gotten it, so there's more like availability.
Mhm.
And you said what would make it easier. You already kind of said transportation. Is there anything else that could make it easier to get within your community?
Like if they offered it at schools, like in my community, they don't offer it at the kids' school, and that would be great. But they did offer it here at the school we teach at, which was outstanding.
Yeah, I think that helped a lot of families feel safe and like, you know, if you trust the school where your kids attend and the teachers and staff, it's going to be easier to walk in and like navigate that and ask for help. And
Mhm.
I agree. I think schools should have vaccines clinics. How do you think state or local organizations could contribute so people have more confidence to access the vaccine?
I think just releasing data on the side effects and like the long-term effect that it might be having on people so that it's all really clear, like having some way to track and monitor anecdotally people's experience from the vaccine.
How do you think state or local health departments could improve communication and messages about the vaccine? Yeah, I feel like I was getting like some weird texts from like the health department or like I was on at least or some emails. But I don't know what other communication I got, but how could they maybe do a better job about communicating to the public?
This is news organizations, you said, who?
It says state and local health departments.
I think that it was just highly politicized and that made it really hard to like get the facts on the science behind the vaccine. I think that they could do a better job by emphasizing how it's going to benefit the community collectively for people to get the vaccine and how it's like you know, a social responsibility as a citizen, like promoting it in that light.
Yeah, I think about like, I mean, you're a parent and going through when your daughter was like a baby and her having to get vaccinated and getting these things at checkups, like maybe a lot of that communication happening when kids are like younger and they're going for appointments. I think maybe down the road, that's where we're gonna like head, like having this be something regularly that people are getting vaccinated for.
Yeah.
Have you had the opportunity to talk to a healthcare provider about the vaccine and what did that conversation look like?
By the time I saw like my family doctor, it was very hard to get in to see. I'd already received the vaccine, so it was like it was pretty brief. I didn't get to really get her take on it.
But you said like your mom was working closely at one of the sites. Do you feel like she was able to talk to healthcare providers?
Yeah.
Get some information?
Yes, definitely.
Do you think that communities in New Jersey have been given equal access or information to the vaccine? If not, who has been left out?
I would say no, we haven't been given equal access just because of barriers like language, transportation, finances, like with testing, sometimes I was paying $75 a pop to get tested. And having to make appointments away from my house, like at least half an hour away from my house to get tested in a timely manner. But like you're focusing on vaccines. So I think, you know, just if you're in, let's say like this is a heavily Spanish speaking population in Trenton, if you're in a Spanish speaking community and you're not like tapped into resources in the community, then you might not necessarily know where you could get it or who you could talk to that you could trust or so on and so forth, or have access to translators.
Yeah, I think that's a great point about like equal access to testing. Even now, like yes, a certain amount is covered by like insurance, but that leaves out a population of uninsured people. You can buy it at the store, but it is drastically more expensive than
Yeah,
if it's covered. So I think that's a great point. And that's probably the last question too. Is there anything else that we should add that wasn't asked about COVID, vaccines, pandemic?
I mean, I think that employers and schools need to take this into consideration when we're looking at like sick time and absences, because it's a different age now. And we have everything we had before, but now we have COVID too. And so they need to reevaluate how much time they're giving to support their employees, because everyone's really doing the best that they can. And